day, everybody. It is Calxiyn here, and if you guys enjoyed this video, you should subscribe for more Attack on Titan videos. Today we are doing a reaction and discussion to episode 4, and I heard that after episode 4 they are taking a 1-week gap, so that's very important. If you didn't know that, now you know. If you want to see the full reaction, you guys can check out the Patreon, and the full timer and subtitle reaction will be up there, but this is going to be my big moments reaction, and then we are going to discuss it after with screenshots. So if you guys are cool with that, let's just get into it. Let's go. Oh, but if it's at the Warriors, oh, that's so smart. Eren's so smart. Oh my god. Yeah, buddy, Falco's doing it. Falco's trying to kick Gabby's ass. Oh, whoa, he said, I love that guard. The guard's like, he totally said it. Well, she doesn't understand. Oh my god. I love Gabby so much. She's a little arrogant, but I like it though, because like, what a big mood. That's, I think that the problem is that I'm a little like Gabby, not gonna lie. Grandpa? Is that Zeke's grandpa? Damn. Uh-oh! Uh-oh! Does he regret it? Does he regret turning them in somehow? Does Granddad regret? Oh, does he have regrets? Oh my god! Does he have regret? Every day? Yeah! Ice cream too! Oh my god! Oh no! The ball has to drop, guys! These kids are having too much fun and too much food, okay? It can't all be happy. I refuse to believe it. They may be happy right now, but it's gonna all come crashing down, okay? That's what I'm trying to, but protect that smile. She has such a nice smile. Oh god. This is so suspicious. Did Falco know? Let's get into the discussion portion now, and I feel like that this discussion is going to be a little bit different because what we really are going to be talking about are like these pockets of moments that happen throughout the episode. Like there's, I think about 5 big moments that I want to talk about, and then the other screenshots were just like happy stuff, eating pizza, and like me enjoying, like you guys would have seen in my reaction if I included that, but me enjoying how happy the kids got to be at the festival. So let's start here at the beginning. That is a good place to start. And so this is Falco saying, I forgot something back at HQ, so I'm gonna go get it. And then he's like delivering letters and helping Eren. And so Eren basically says, hey, you know, they may find out I'm not really sick if they read my letters, so could you send the letters for me? And I think that that's very interesting because Eren made this lie, but he's keeping the lie very well. So he must have thought about it. It wasn't just something that he made up on the spot. It was a very constructed lie in order to pull off sending communication back and forth, which I think is really cool. And then we get the scene about the Tibers, I believe. Or Tibbers. I was saying Tibbers, like, I don't know if you guys can see him, but I have Tibbers from League of Legends in the background, and so I'm not sure. I'm gonna say Tibers. We have this scene with the Tibers, and I think that, again, this is one of the pocket moments. Falco helping up Eren does set up some things for later, but this is one of the big, like, important moments that I do really want to talk about. It's the Tibers' personal guard. They're not part of the military, so I feel like that this is very smart, okay? Because we've seen what happens when the military is protecting, like, royal families, if you want to call it that, in the real world and in anime. And in this anime, to some extent. But it's just not a great idea because the military can form a coup and turn against you. And now, could these people form a coup? Probably. I was gonna say a coup. Yes, line up to form. Everyone, please line up to form the coup. Anyways. enough of that, but I just think that it's very smart that the Tybers have their own personal fleet, because at least that personal fleet will answer to them most of the time. Like, I'm assuming these guys could be bribed, unless they have some personal loyalty that I don't know about, I'm not sure. But I think that that's very smart of them to have their own personal guard. I think that this was funny that his name is Willie, like not even William, everyone calls him Willie, and that to me is just so funny because it's such an informal name for a lord, and I wonder if that's just like the translation of his name, like how his name comes across in Japanese, or if that was like an intentional characteristic of this guy, that he's a lord and he's powerful, but he goes by Willie instead of William because it's less intimidating. Like, you guys understand what I'm saying? Like, I wonder if it's supposed to be a character moment for him that he'll go by Willie. And then we see that the rest of the family is here, and it's very cool to see. We have like grandparents, I'm assuming, multiple like cousins. I'm guessing that he has like brothers, because I don't think that all these kids are his kids. I think I saw multiple women in the room, so it sort of implied like, oh, you know, your brother and sister, and you have a husband, and the cousins, right? I think that the blonde kids are supposed to be like cousins with the black-haired kids, is what I would theorize basically, is that Willie has a brother or a sister, and that brother or sister married, and so we have a collection of both cousins, and then also his children, Willie's children. And so I think it's interesting that they brought the whole family, because I suddenly realized, like I realized during the reaction, I may have put this in, I'm not sure, again, if you guys want to see the full reaction, it's on my Patreon sometimes, because I haven't edited the reaction portion of the video yet. Like, I do the discussion first and then I edit it all together, so I don't know, like I don't know what I put in and what I didn't put in yet, but I think that it's so smart because I finally realized why they do this, and it makes so much sense. If they bring everyone, you can't dispose of everyone, or, you know, you can't entrap everyone, okay, because Willie is very well liked and there's a personal guard, right? You can't capture them as the military and torture them to find out, like, which one is the Warhammer Titan. I believe that that is what it's called. You can't do that because, first of all, Willie is a popular guy, okay? He runs in high circles. You can't do that. You can't kidnap the entire family. That would probably be bad for you. You can't attack them because they have a personal guard, in theory, right? And if they're all here, you can't just take one of them and hold them in a cell, right? You would have to capture the entire family, which would cause outrage. If you knew it was like little Timmy over here, like this kid, if you knew it was Timmy, you could capture Timmy and throw him in a cell, right? And I'm sure that Willie could probably do something about it because, again, he has connections. But if you take one person, that's easy, right? If you take the whole family, that's a cause for concern. People are gonna wonder where the whole family went. And so by not knowing, you won't like put your family in jeopardy because they're all valuable. They're all equally valuable if you don't know the value of any of them. But you know that there's like a diamond in all of these like, I don't know what's an equivalent. There's a diamond in all these rocks is basically what I'm saying. The family, they're all rocks. They're just normal people except for one. And you don't know, so you can't crush the rocks or else you may crush the diamond, right? And so it's very, like, I really like this. Are you able to tell which one of us is the Warhammer Titan? No, I haven't a clue. One might wonder if it's actually here at all. So does he really not have a clue? I feel like this conversation is interesting because Willie is basically asking like, hey, you started the warrior unit. Can you tell whether we're Titans or not? But at the same time, does he genuinely think that the general has the eye for that or has the capability to do that? Or is he just testing the general to see how the general responds? Because I doubt that if Willie suspected that anyone could tell by eyesight who is a Titan and who isn't, he wouldn't let this man in. So I wonder if it was all just a test. I don't know. But it's here. Yeah, this guy's just like, yeah, it's here. The Warhammer Titan is among us. I think this is so like unintentionally funny just because you've had the popularity of Among Us like as a video game, and it's been like there's a traitor among us, there's a murderer among us, and so I think that that's so interesting that it's like the Warhammer Titan is among us. I thought that that was very interesting. Now this guy's motivations are actually very cool, and I didn't necessarily expect that. And so he says war for the Marleyans exists solely inside of their newspapers. They're content to just read about our lands expanding. If our tame devils or conquered enemies are eating the bullets, all the better. But One hopes letting Marleyans hear the sound of bullets whizzing by their ears will be enough to stop our self-destructive march of war. So here's like his idea, is that the Marleyans are not close to the battlefield, so they don't care about the fighting because it doesn't affect them. But as soon as something will affect your family through conscription, because they're talking about conscription, so I'm assuming like, you know, when you're 18, you go into the military for 3 years, like something like that, mandatory conscription. And so I feel like that he is saying if they were forced into battle, they would call for the end of war because they would suddenly be the ones that are losing their sons and daughters, not just the Eldians, and that would stop war. I feel like that's his mindset, and I feel like that's very accurate. That's so true. A lot of people won't care about something until it directly affects them, especially with situations like these. And so I feel like that's really cool for his motivation, and he thinks like it will be enough to stop our self-destructive march towards war. And so I feel like that's a very interesting, because I think that he's right. Like, I feel like that whether he genuinely believes it or not, I think he does, because Willie is like, you want conscription, don't you? And then he explains why. Like, I'm assuming it's a genuine motivation, but I just feel like that's so interesting that even like the Marleyans, like even this guy's not an Eldian, but he wants to stop the fighting still. And so this guy isn't as bad as I thought earlier, is I guess what I'm trying to say. The characters are a lot more nuanced than they may appear, and I feel like that's so important. And I like that, you know, I came to see the statue, and Willie says, but this path of warmongering was the one that Marley chose on its own. We gave Marley both freedom and power and hopes of atonement, but in the end, Eldia and Marley were thrown into darkness. The Tibbers are responsible for that. And so I feel like that from his perspective, it's interesting because he explains later, the oppressed has now become the oppressor. The Marleyans who were oppressed are now pillaging and killing other people through war, and so if they can all stop that, that would be great. Like, that's basically what he says later. I intend to reveal the truth to the world at the upcoming festival. And so here's what I wonder. I wonder if his solution is going to be that all of the Eldians leave to Paradise. I know we've already tried that once, but what if in order to unify the world together, that is their suggestion, is that Eldians will be sent away to make their own country and they'll be left alone, and then that's just that, and then no one fights with each other. But there will always be fights, you know, fights over resources and other things, so I'm not entirely sure what his plan is here. Like, they want to stop war, and I think that the party scene really shows that, because the guy who fucks up is trying to say yesterday's enemies are today's friends, and whatever, he like, oh god, he butchered that so bad. But that general consensus, how do we reach that through this, like, truth at the festival? I don't know how we stop the war, guys. I don't know how to stop war. I'm just a university student, okay? Will you not join hands with me? And then we don't actually see them join hands. And so I feel like that they're almost working together. Willie's like, okay, your plan's nice, but I also have a plan. So let's put our plans together. Like, let's put these heads together and maybe we'll, we'll think of something that's great or something like that. Like, he's basically saying, will you not join hands with me? But we didn't actually see the hands joining, so I'm a little suspicious. Then we have this scene of, I just want to acknowledge it very quickly, of Peck crawling on the floor, because that is how she is most comfortable. Again, because that is her Titan form. And you guys have clarified to me that she can actually stay in her Titan form for a long time, and it is different than the other Titans, and that is why she is used to this. But he's just like, no. Because it's almost like if you're doing this as a human, he could perpetuate the idea that the Eldians are monsters. I don't know if that's the meaning of this scene. Like, I don't know if that's like too like, I don't know if that's too strange of a jump, if that's a reach, but I feel like that maybe that's why he's like, please just stand up, please just act human, because if somebody saw you, like if a Marleyan saw you, they would probably be like, see? Like, they're a monster, they don't even know how to act human. Like, this dehumanizes them. People say a lot like, oh, like when we started walking upright is when we could finally evolve because we could do more things that led to our evolution. Some people say that. I don't know if that's true. But yeah, I just wonder if this is dehumanizing and that Porco does not want to see her do this because it'll remind people of what they are dehumanized for. I don't know. And then we get this scene where Reiner is explaining a very good plan and this guy isn't getting it. And then this guy calls Reiner the idiot. I think that Reiner was suggesting, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that Reiner was suggesting to sneak in, right? Like, okay, well, we can't go the same way we've been going, so let's go another way. And the guy's like, another way? Like, enough. It was dumb to let an Eldian talk. And I'm like, bro, you just don't get what Reiner's suggesting. At least I think that's how I read the scene. But whatever. Reiner's trying to be helpful by giving you information, and you're supposed to draw the conclusion of a different route to take to get the element of surprise, but you're not. So that's great. And I think that this scene was really compelling to me, that the kids are running and Falco's behind Gabby, and then Falco gets ahead of her, and I feel like that this is such a tell, I guess, of the determination that Falco has. And we see this in the next scene as well, that Falco, now being more determined than ever, is working very, very hard, pushing himself to the limit to surpass Gabby so he can be seen as eligible. And I find that so compelling, and I love where Falco's character is going, but Falco does do some things that I'm a little worried about, and we'll talk about that later. He's ahead. Falco passed up Gabby. And then they have a conversation. Everyone's just like, whoa, like Falco won a race, like whoa, like everyone's saying that, and maybe he'll be a contender after all. And I think that this scene is really interesting because I sort of picked up on this being like shipping material, that Falco has like feelings for Gabby, and it seems like that is correct. And I think this is interesting. Your brother's already inheriting the beast. You'll be an honorary Marleyan. And then she says, what's the point of trying so hard? And he's like, I'm doing it for you! And he's blushing, so you know that that's like in a romantic sense, he's doing it to save her, but she still doesn't get it, and I think that it's so funny. I think there's multiple things to unpack here. Could it be that Gabby wants the same thing as Falco, that Gabby wants the powers, so Falco does not have to go into battle because maybe she cares about him too? Because I think that this is interesting, that she is saying your brother will already get you the honorary Marleyan thing, and you don't need to die in 13 years. What could be better? But what could be better for Falco is saving her. So I wonder if Gabby wants to save Falco in the same way, she's just doing it in a more subconscious way. That she knows, okay, if he doesn't get it, he doesn't need it because he'll already be an honorary Marleyan, and then maybe she thinks that she needs it more. I think that that's probably fair. And so all of them are like, the guards even. I'm surprised the guards were so friendly, first of all. I was very surprised. And I think that's, again, the nuanced world building of the show, that not everyone that's around here is, like, evil. Because I don't think that these guys are Eldians. Unless I'm, like, not seeing, like, both of their... No, but they should be on the same arm, right? So... unless I'm just not seeing that, I think that, like, these guys are Marleyan and they're just nice. Like, they just seemed nice in this scene. And so I feel like it's so important for the world building to show that not everyone in Marley is so, like, much of a fucking asshole, I guess. And then you have, like, Udo and Zofia, and they're just like, like, they still don't get it! And I thought that that was so great. This scene I was a little confused about, because this guy was grabbing Gabby, and I was like, but who are you, though? But I guess it's not her dad or anything, because he seems to have a normal badge, and her family, I think... does her family get elevated? Some of her family already has elevated status because of Reiner. So I was a little confused about this scene, if this was just some random man being nice to her and some random lady being nice to her, or if this was actually, like, someone who's related to Gabby. I guess it's like, I don't know, it's a small town, you know, people know each other, like, this is just, like, their, I don't know, almost like, just, like, some random grandma, I guess, that, you know, they see every once in a while. I was a little confused by that specific scene. And then they see the theater, which I'm assuming is where everything's taking place tomorrow. And after this festival, the world will be on our side, and so that's what they think. The Mid-East forces we were just slaughtering will be there. My family came from an internment zone abroad, so I know how awful it is. So he's saying that the rest of the world is still something to worry about. Like, you think that Marley's bad, there is bad out there. And so they have this conversation where I feel like Udo is more of the realist, that he is considering that, you know, this isn't gonna magically fix everything. But I feel like Gabby is more optimistic, and she's like, smile, right? You know, like show the world that you're, I don't know, a happy kid or something, right? I know you can't wait to show the world they're wrong, but stop looking so smug. Like, I feel like that was interesting. She's like, Zofia, be more friendly, be more charming. Like, that is how you win people over. And it's almost like a little bit of a manipulation tactic. And I feel like that this scene speaks to Willy, because Willy, you see, even though he is an Eldian and he has like the potential to hold Titan powers, everyone's like, yo, Willy, like, what's up? Like, in the party scene. And so I feel like that in this case, Gabby is starting to pick up on that, is that you have to like put on a show almost of being charismatic, and like, Zofia, you're too aloof, you gotta like show the world that you're nice, basically, that you're friendly. And so I feel like that's the point of the smile thing, is like, smile, Udo, be friendly. There's no need, because I'm perfect as it is. I'm smart and cute as a button. So I feel like, here's the thing, is Gabby a little arrogant? Yeah, but do I love the confidence? Yes. Oh god, like, this is like once a month I am like this, and then the rest of the time I feel like like a total piece of shit. But there's always once a month where I'm just like, I'm the shit. I feel that, like, I'm on top of the world. I'm the best. So I kind of relate. I feel like that this is gonna be a endearing character trait that turns into a toxic one later on. I feel like that even though it's cute now, like, oh, Gabby, like, thinks she's so perfect, ha ha ha, I think that it's definitely gonna be a negative thing later on. I feel like sometimes that traits that make a character endearing can as quickly make a character, I guess, not so much anymore. And I think that I'll still like Gabby as a character if that shift is made. But I'm just saying, like, as a person, sometimes the things that we take pride in can also be our downfall, I guess. It's a weird sort of way to say it. Like, her confidence, right, could easily be arrogance, and that could get her in trouble later. It's good to be confident, but it's not good to be arrogant. And even though it's an endearing confidence now, it could be a detrimental arrogance later. That's what I'm trying to say. If you guys cheer for Falco again, I'll make you cry. I wonder, again, I say this like every single time I'm with you guys, I wonder if this is some sort of foreshadowing that Gabby will turn against her friends, and then, you know, something like this will happen. She'll be trying to kill them. Because I feel like Falco at this point, I feel like that he's very close to possibly defecting. And I feel like that it could be possible for Gabby to get the powers. Like, for sure. Some powers. Maybe not Reiner's powers, but like somebody's. You know? I don't know. And so Willy is here. And this scene I found very interesting, because he seemed almost, I don't know if this was genuine. Sometimes it's hard for me to tell, like, not sarcasm, but just tone in Japanese sometimes, especially when we're watching the sub, because sometimes it's supposed to be subtle, and if it's subtle, then a viewer that can't understand the language, like me, because I'm dumb, will miss it. So I'm not entirely sure if he was being genuine here or not. But I feel like it's interesting. He's like, I'm simply the one who holds the wheel. Now I know why my predecessors never tried to grab it. So he goes on this almost a little like mini monologue, like just a couple pieces of dialogue about like how heavy the weight of the world is. And I'm like, oh, like this guy isn't as confident as he portrays himself to be. He's actually seems to be very self-conscious in that this is weighing heavily on him, right? Like, he may be a rich guy and all of these people are, I guess, you know, his friends, and he has all these connections. I don't know how else to phrase it, but he is like stressed. He's stressed about the fact that all of the weight has been put on his shoulders. He seems genuinely a little stressed out in this scene, because he's like, I'm taking the wheel and I am very stressed out about it. That is the vibe that I get from this man. And so it's interesting to see that Willy may not be all confident like I initially thought he was. He may have a little more character than I was sort of assuming. Because I looked at him in my reaction and I was like, is he gonna be the bad guy? Because he seems like he could be a bad guy, you know? But now looking at him, to me, he just, I don't know, he seems like that there's a confident persona, but underneath he's so worried about fucking up, because if they fuck up, they may not get another chance at this. Like, grabbing the wheel and having the entire responsibility, like this weight on your shoulders, is difficult. And I feel like that he may be genuinely speaking about the difficulty of that here. And so I would like to know what you guys think about that. Like, maybe I'm interpreting the scene wrong, but he seemed genuinely like, ugh, like, I have to do all this, it's my responsibility, but it's so much, it's just a lot, right? Because he says, now I know why my predecessors never tried to grab it. Because I think that what he was saying previously, like what they were saying about him in other episodes, is that the Tiber family, like, keeps to themselves. They, you know, they don't always, like, they're not getting involved. Like, they don't get involved in battle, but I feel like that maybe it was implied that they've been hiding out a little bit, that they haven't been involving themselves in this for quite some time because they didn't want to. They wanted to, you know, save themselves, in a sense. They didn't want to intervene in a way that would have a negative outcome. But now, instead of sitting around, Willie seems to be willing and Willie seems to be willing. Willie seems to be willing and attempting to do something, but doing something, you can never go back from doing something, but you can keep doing nothing. Does that make sense? Once you do something, once you do an action, you can never go back. But if you do nothing, nothing bad can happen. That's the mindset of some people. And so I feel like that, and this could also be comparative to the king. Like, remember that there's some reason that the king won't go to battle anymore, and everyone who inherits like the king powers in Paradise, the founding titan powers, that was in the bloodline, they just like they find everything out, and then they're just like, no, we won't do anything about it. I wonder if it's a reference to that mentality that the king had in Paradise, that this guy and maybe his family had a similar mentality. They were just on the other side of the wall. Galaxy brain of us. And so Falco is thanking Eren because Falco has gotten some help from Eren, but Eren has also gotten some help from Falco. Honestly, I doubt I can pass up Gabby. I don't know. I see, I'm the one who should be thanking you, though. I'm grateful you've been sending all my letters. You've been a big help. And so what's interesting here is that Eren has a baseball glove, and I was sort of suspicious because obviously the Beast Titan is the one that's going like, wee, and like does the like, hey bada swing, like that sort of move. So I wonder if that was a metaphor for something, or if these letters are in code, because I think that Eren says something to the effect of, yeah, my family sent that to me, so I could, so I could have fun. Like, I'm still a little like, okay, but I wonder if that could be some sort of code. I wonder if Eren is organizing with people through these letters, and I'm very excited. And he says that after the festival is over, he's going home. But I don't know if that was like a lie that he was saying to Falco, or he thinks that somehow after the festival, they'll just be able to go home to Paradise for some reason. I'm not sure. A doctor's coming. This is Zeke's grandpa. Is it not? Because his name is Jaeger, and he sort of implies that what does he say exactly? His uncle was a leader of the Eldian restorationalists. And so he's talking about Falco's uncle. Falco's uncle, theoretically, would be Eren's dad, I believe. I think that that is the implication. I always thought of the grandparents as like kind of evil and not remorseful, because they turned in their son, and then Zeke is their grandson, right? So they basically like all turned in the family together, and so I sort of thought of them as a little more evil, but if he's genuinely remorseful, that adds a dynamic to his character, because maybe the grandparents just did it so they would have a chance of survival, right? Like it was sort of we'll sacrifice our son to survive. But then I also had a theory that they turned Eren's dad in on purpose to send him, I had that theory, to send him over the wall to start all this, so that they were actually a part of the revolutionaries, but they just, like, turning him in was all part of the plan. Restorationalists are sent to Paradise, and not even their family is spared. To protect their family, he and his brother trained to be warriors. And when his brother was chosen to inherit the Beast Titan, the Grice family knew that they were finally safe. And so that is what leads into this conversation. They're finally safe. So stop asking the boy to do favors for you. And if you're truly healthy, you should go back to your family. Someday you won't see them anymore. Don't wait and live with regret. So I do wonder if he regrets it, because this is where we get, do you have any regrets about your family? Because Eren has all the memories of his father, well, some of them anyway, but he knows, is my point. He knows what happened, right? He knows what happened now. And so there's not a day that I don't. I think it's understandable for this man to be in such pain, because I feel like that he is traumatized by his decisions, I suppose, because he says, that day my son took my daughter outside the walls. It's because I was too strict about him becoming a doctor. It's my fault. Everything was my fault. It's no surprise that his mental health is suffering. And I just think that that's an interesting angle, because he's not necessarily regretting turning his son in. I think that he is, to some extent. Like, I think that he is, but he's more so addressing the ripple effect that caused his son to become a radical in the first place. I feel like that he's less feeling guilty about turning in his son and more feeling guilty about what he perceives he could have done to prevent it. That if he had not let them go that day, that his son would have never became a radical, because his sister would have never died. And so I feel like that he's less guilty about sending Eren's dad basically to the walls, and he's feeling more guilty about the fact that he let it come to that in the very first place, the very first incident that caused Eren's dad to feel this way. I think that that's what we're getting at. And so I'm not surprised that the doctor is having an extreme reaction. As I was watching this, it made me at first confused, because I was like, wait a minute, is he a doctor or is he a patient that was lying about being a doctor? Because this seems like the behavior of the other people that are inside of the facility that we've seen, like that guy banging his head on the wall. However, I think that it just goes to show you that no matter like patient or doctor, everyone in Marley, all the Eldians have trauma, right? And so I think that that's actually a good message. Like, just because you're a doctor doesn't mean you're exempt from these issues and this trauma, or just because you're anything for that matter. Like, nothing exempts you from mental pain. No job or no like lifestyle exempts you from mental pain. And so I feel like that that's actually really important that they showcase that in this particular character. Like, he's a doctor and he helps patients, but he also has trauma himself. And I think that that's, I don't know, I just thought that that was interesting. And so they get him, and Eren just seems a little stoic almost, because he just knows too much, I think. And so it's hard, because you look at him and you would think that, you know, this guy has suffered so much based on his reaction, and you feel bad for that, but at the same time you can't look because you know what he did to your dad. And so I feel like Eren may be feeling conflicting feelings right there. That this is like an old man that's suffering, and that's very emotional. It's very hard to see old people in this state. But at the same time, knowing what he knows, can he find that forgiveness for the grandfather? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. What if this man knew that, you know, Eren's dad lived and that this is Eren? I don't know. And then we have the party. So I think that it's interesting that they're all waiters. I don't really know why. Like, I guess they have skills, right? But it just seemed a little odd for them to be here. But I kind of like that they're here, because it's like, oh, you guys are interacting like with the high society in a way, because you sort of need to see this, right? Sort of like the Tybers. And so I'm not exactly sure why they were chosen to be waiters. It seems a little strange, but it's also like, let's show them what the warriors do. We do good with plates. And so it was a little strange, but I still like their presence here. This really throws off Udo, because it shows that they're still very, like, do I say racist? Like, very bigoted. Let's just say bigoted. That covers all the bases here. There are still very bigoted people around, and that is immediately contrasted with this lady. So Udo, spills because he is startled by that comment from those men, and he spills on this lady, and he freaks out because he thinks he's in so much trouble. He just spilled, like, wine on a rich person, and it's red wine too, so, like, that's even worse. And so she says, shh, don't make a fuss, but your fancy clothes, how embarrassing. I spilled wine on my kimono, and I was asking for help. And so I like that she, like, swiftly took the glass from him too to make this convincing story. And I thought that, she's just so nice. And it's interesting because she saves him and she says, who knows what would have happened to you? And it shows that not everyone in the world is, like, bigoted and toxic, that there are people in the world with genuine empathy, especially because these are children, right? Like, how can you, like, think that the unthinkable could happen to a child just because they spill some wine? And so I think that it's compelling to me that they are showing that there are different people from all over the world here, but they all have varying opinions as well, and not everyone in the world is as bad as Udo thought, because Udo did say, I've been abroad, like, I know, like, the world is bad out there. There is worse than the Marleyans, but maybe there's also better than the Marleyans out there too. That could equally be true. And I think that this lady could be representative of that. She knew I was an Eldian. That woman, I think she's an Easterner from High Zuru. So I'm not sure what sort of meaning that'll have, because I feel like it is important that they said where she's from. I'm not entirely sure, like, what significance that'll have yet. Maybe it's to show, like, which people from which different countries are more progressive or tolerant, but one person can also, like, you can't, like, represent an entire country based on one person either. So I'm not sure what relevant information this is supposed to be for us as the audience, but I think that it is sort of interesting that they mention that. I feel like that we'll come back to that later. I don't know. And then we have Willy! Like, everyone loves Willy! Like, that's basically what this whole thing, like, he meets so many different ambassadors, and he's like, yeah, we used to play when we were kids! And it's just so cute. Like, it's very oddly wholesome to see old people reunite after, like, they've been separated for, I'm not saying they're not that old, they're probably in their 40s, but it's like, yeah, Willy, like, everyone loves him so much, and he's like, oh yeah, I remember we used to play when we were kids, like, everyone just loves him, and I'm just like, oh, like, that's sort of interesting. So this guy does a speech, and he fucks up real bad, and everyone is just shocked. Yesterday's enemy is today's friend, and then he said, like, before that he said, yesterday's enemy is today's enemy, and I'm just like, what a Freudian slip there, buddy. Like, not a great thing to say. And so, yeah, they get rid of that guy, and Willy comes in to save the day, because again, it's like, let's get this guy out of here, because what everyone loves is the charismatic, charming, like, friendly Willy, and so we can still rescue this through Willy, because people are connected to him. And so I feel like that's a very interesting note, that he is basically, he's more refined. He's saying a similar sentiment, to be fair. Like, he's trying to be like, yeah, we're all friends. Like, that's what he's trying to say. So a similar sentiment to what that other guy was trying, but he's saying it in a more eloquent and convincing way based on, like, who he is and how he's likable. Where that other guy, like, he blundered badly, very badly, would not recommend. And so, the ones called devils for slaughtering a great number of people, the Eldians, Marley has used the devils to oppress other nations and repeat tragedy. I understand the desire to exterminate the Eldians, but I have arrived at a single solution that'll answer this endless problem. So what's the solution, though, Willy? I would say that the plan could be to send everyone to Paradise, but the thing is that there's oil under Paradise. Isn't that the whole thing? Aren't we hunting for oil or something? Like, there's natural resources under Paradise. However, I wonder if it could be possible that his plan is basically Paradise Part 2 Electric Boogaloo. We'll send all the Eldians away and they will never interact with us. And then it's fine. Like, that'll be the thing. Maybe we'll have one representative from every nation, keep an eye on them, but they're separated and whatever, and that's how we'll solve all our problems. I don't know what his plan is, per se. I really just don't. I don't know. And I think that whatever it is, I feel like it's gonna be a little twisty twist of his plan is, like, awful. Like, his plan is, like, very dangerous, right? Tomorrow, I will reveal that solution in my first ever theater production. So it's gonna be a play. Okay, Willy. I don't know how this is gonna go at all. Now we get to the festival, and I feel like that at first I was sort of, is this a frivolous scene a tone shift? Like, are we supposed to think that everything's happy and everything's okay and then it's not going to be? Like, is it a fake out scene? But I don't think that that was the intention of this scene anymore. Rather, I think the intention of this scene was to show us what life could be like if these kids got to be fucking normal. That is what I think that this scene is supposed to be represent, because at first I was like, are they showing us happy things because everything is crashing down? Are they lulling us into a false sense of security before everything goes crazy? And to an extent, I don't think that that is inaccurate. However, I think that the purpose of this scene is trying to show us as the audience that they could live a normal, happy life as children, as regular children who eat ice cream and pizza and, what else did I take a picture of? Sandwiches, right? And that they could all be happy and just, that this could be like a slice of life anime where the kids have a school festival and they go get food. Like, it could be like that, but it won't be. So I think that this scene, even though it seems very, I don't want to say random, but I feel like it's like, yeah, happy, like see all our kids have fun, even though it is very much that, it also serves a grander purpose in the narrative to show the damage that has been done to their lives, that they've, like, basically not been able to live the lives of normal children, to have ice cream. It seems like they've never had ice cream before because of this war and because of the oppression that is going on. And I think that that is very compelling to see, especially because you think to yourself, they could have the life of normal children, but they can't, and we know that they won't. At least I don't think so. I think that at least one of them for now will get the Titan power. So at least for now, they won't. So let's fast forward a little bit, because after the credits, there's a sort of like post-credit situation. And so Falco is off somewhere, they notice that he's gone, and Reiner's just like, where did you go? And like, he's just like, can you come with me? And, he's leading him down this dark hallway, and I was just like, is this really safe, Reiner? And then he leads him to the basement. Hey, it's been 4 years, Reiner. And then he sees that it's Eren. So let's talk about this scene, because I don't really have an analysis, rather I just have questions, and I hope that by saying my questions aloud, somehow they'll be answered. Why? Why do this? Why, as Eren, is it the time to expose yourself? Now, he did say that after the festival, he'll be going home. So I do wonder if they have a plan to, at this time on this day, we all transform and we, destroy this place. Something like that, theoretically, with Eren and Armin and the others, right? Mikasa, maybe, I don't know. Whoever else is around, right? And so I wonder if that could be it, is that he has nothing to lose because soon they will attack, soon the Paradise people that are here undercover will attack. Or, and here's my theory, okay? I think that maybe Eren thinks that there's a chance that Reiner could defect and be on Eren's side, especially since they've built up this whole thing of Reiner, struggling emotionally, realizing that the people on the island weren't devils, realizing that he left everyone basically died. Not Annie, she's alive-ish. She's somewhere, right? But everyone basically either died or got captured, and he's the sole survivor. He's dealing with a lot of guilt. But what if you just defect, Reiner? What if you just defect? So I wonder, why would Eren do this? That's what I don't understand. Why expose yourself when Reiner could get you in so much fucking trouble, right? I don't know. And so I feel like that's why he must have faith in Reiner for something, or he's just like, yeah, the attack's gonna be in 5 minutes, so even if you call someone, it's hopeless. So I wonder if it could be either of those things, that he revealed himself because it's too late. It's already too late, so why not reveal myself to Reiner? But I feel like that it could be defecting. Now, the question is of Falco. Did Falco find out about this and he's just going with it, or did he be was Eren yes, Reiner was an old friend of mine back in the day, I'd like to see him some, because they're in this creepy basement and Reiner's down here, I wonder how much Falco knows. And I feel like that this could also be bad. I feel like that this could get Falco in so much trouble, because I feel like what's possible with Reiner is that Reiner defects and then he gets found out. And then when he gets found out, the powers go to Gabby, and then Falco, doesn't get them because Falco helped, and Falco's also a traitor. But I feel like that, unlike Reiner, Falco could actually escape with Eren. Is that too fanficky? I don't know. But that's my idea, is that Reiner decides to defect, and Falco decides to defect, because Falco realizes that this nice man from Paradise has a plan, and the plan is good question mark? And then basically what happens is Reiner is found out, Falco is found out, Reiner dies and Gabby eats him because Reiner is executed for treachery, and Falco gets rescued by Eren. And then Gabby and Falco, they're at odds with each other because Falco is on team Eren, whereas Gabby is on team against Eren. That's my theory. That's it. I'm really excited. This is a hella, like, this is such a good cliffhanger. This is a hella good cliffhanger is what I was gonna say. But yeah, that is all from me, guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Again, it is gonna be like 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 1 week. 1 week. We're just skipping a week. But no, but that's technically still 2 weeks. Anyway, you guys understand what I'm saying. I'm sad because this is a great cliffhanger to just leave us stewing here for a while. So I hope that you guys enjoy this video. I hope that it's found you well, I guess. I don't know. Like, I hope that you guys enjoyed our little discussion, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.